Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are going to begin on page 128 as we get into our Kabbalat Shabbat and say goodbye to the past week and come into a new week. As we do, we are entering into the second half of the month of Av. We celebrated or observed Tisha B'Av, and there's an idea, we'll talk about it a little bit more in our service, but the idea that we make our way from this date of Tisha B'Av, the 9th of the month of Av, so we make our way toward the highlight date of Yom Kippur. It's a little spiritual pathway that we'll talk about, but we begin that pathway by entering into this Shabbat, Yedid Nefesh, this beautiful Shabbat love poem, page 128. Yedid Nefesh Av HaRachaman, Yedid Nefesh Av HaRachaman, Mi Shochavtecha El Ritzonecha, Mi Shochavtecha, La 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 El Ritzonecha. Yarut Avdecha Kemo Ayav Yishtachavei La 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 El Mul Hadarecha Yedid Nefesh Av HaRachaman, Yedid Nefesh Av HaRachaman, Mi Shochavtecha El Ritzonecha, Mi Shochavtecha La 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 El Ritzonecha. Yarut Avdecha Kemo Ayav Yishtachavei La 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 El Mul Hadarecha. Right above Yedid Nefesh, we see the words Ma Yafeh Hayom Shabbat Shalom. What a beautiful day it is today, this Shabbat of, well, they always translate it as peace, but really it's Shabbat of, Shalom really means completeness. Tisha B'Av, the destruction of the temples, we were in the ultimate state of destruction, and we work our way from destruction to completeness. And this Shabbat, these 7 weeks of Shabbat in between Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur become our pathway to completeness, which included a little holiday. Did all of you celebrate the holiday earlier this week? It was on Tuesday night and Wednesday. You went for a run. Excellent, that's a good thing to do. Anybody else celebrate the holiday? Is there anybody in the room who has no idea what I'm talking about? Raise your hands. Most of you are gonna raise your hands. Good, in about half an hour we're gonna talk about it. So, but that holiday leads us down this pathway as well. Ma yafeh hayom Shabbat Shalom, Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom, Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom, Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. On page 120, we'll find the blessing for lighting our Shabbat candles. As we do, our blessing says, Lahadlik ner shel Shabbat, to light the candle of Shabbat, singular, but we light 2 candles. And every once in a while I get to tell this little story here, and some of you have heard it before, and if you've heard it before, you get to hear it again. But we have a kind of a blessing called a bracha asiyah. It's a very fancy set of Hebrew words that means a blessing to do something. It sounds so much nicer in Hebrew, doesn't it? Bracha asiyah, blessing to do something. Better in Hebrew. But a blessing of doing something, a bracha asiyah, you say the blessing, then you do the thing. You say hamotzi, and then you eat the bread. You say kiddush, and then you drink the wine. You say shahakol nihye bidvaro, and then you eat the cookie. All right? So you say a blessing, and then you do the thing. But we have a problem. We say the blessing to light the candles, and then we light the candles. But we have a problem, because once we say the blessing, Shabbat has actually begun, and we're not allowed to do, as my conversion students talked about this past week, we're not allowed to create a fire on Shabbat. So how do we light the candles on Shabbat? If we already said the blessing for the candles, we can't do it. And so what we do is we cover our eyes, and we say the blessing, and then we go to light the candles, but they're already lit. It's a miracle. Now, on the surface, it sounds a little bit silly, but if you take it just below the surface here, if we light the candles, I cover my eyes, I say the blessing, I go to light the candles, and the candles are already lit, and it's a miracle. What a beautiful image it is that every single Shabbat always begins with a miracle. Isn't that an amazing thing to think about? And so on the surface it sounds a little silly, but the meaning right below it, there's a beautiful lesson for all of us that we should think that each Shabbat, each and every one, the ones that we're ready for and the ones that we're not ready for, each one begins with a miracle. Page 120 will find our blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We open our eyes and experience our Shabbat miracle. We continue on page 130 as we make our way through the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat. Lechu niranena, come, let us sing joyfully l'Adonai, to God. Raise a shout of joy for our sur, for our rock in our lives. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, l'tzur yishenu, nikadma fanav b'toda. Naria, naria, l'tzur yishenu, b'zmirot narialo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. On page 131 at the top of the Hebrew, we say, Shiru l'Adonai, Shir Chadash, sing to God, sing a new song. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, let all of the earth sing a new song. We're going to sing those 2 lines in reverse, just for the reason that that's how this particular songwriter took the words of this psalm. I actually spoke to Julie. Julie Silver is the name of the woman who wrote this particular piece of music. And I asked her, I said, Julie, why did you reverse the 2 lines? And Julie is not only a wonderful songwriter, but she's learned. She's scholarly in Jewish stuff. And she writes beautiful Jewish music. And she's a wonderful Jewish teacher. She lives in Los Angeles. And I said, Julie, why did you put, and I thought she was going to give me this beautiful midrash and this beautiful teaching. And she said, because I thought it sounded better. So sometimes that's okay. Sometimes there's two parts of prayer. The keva, that's the fixed word. Keva means fixed or affixed. It's set in a place. And there's kavanah, which means intention. And sometimes the intention lets us mix up the words because it sounds better. As an old Hasidic story goes, once we send those words up into the heavens, if they're out of order, if they're mispronounced, God will fix it. It's actually part of an old, longer Hasidic story. But we sing these words, Shir Ladonai Kol Haaretz, sing to God all the earth, Shir Ladonai Shir Chadash, sing to God a new song. Page 131. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, Shiru Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shiru Ladonai. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. We're going to continue as we turn to page 133, as we read together at the top of the page from Psalm 97 in the English. Adonai is sovereign. Let the earth exult. The many islands rejoice. Dense clouds are around God. Righteousness and justice are the base of God's throne. O you who love Adonai, hate evil. God guards the lives of God's loyal ones, saving them from the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright. O you righteous, rejoice in Adonai and acclaim God's holy name. We turn to page 135 as we sing the last three lines of the Hebrew that say, Romamu, exult in a joyful way, Adonai our God, and prostrate ourselves, bow ourselves down at God's holy mountain. In our Torah reading, we're now almost 40 years away from that moment at the mountain, about to go into the land of Israel. But we have learned from those words that came from the mountain, Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu, that Adonai our God is holy, and as we make our way into the land, and for us, in a spiritual sense, that land is coming toward the high holy days, we exult and bow before God as we try to emulate God and make ourselves live in a holy way. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, V'hishtachavu l'har kodsho, page 135 from Psalm 99. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, V'hishtachavu l'har kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, V'hishtachavu l'har kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'hishtachavu l'har kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'hishtachavu l'har kodsho. We turn to page 136 and 137. Psalm 129, we'll read the words together in English, and then we'll sing the last few lines together in Hebrew. A psalm of David. Ascribe to Adonai, O divine beings. Ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory of God's name. Bow down to Adonai, majestic in holiness. The voice of Adonai is over the waters. The God of glory thunders, Adonai, over the mighty waters. The voice of Adonai is power. The voice of Adonai is majesty. The voice of Adonai breaks cedars. Adonai shatters the cedars of Lebanon. God makes Lebanon skip like a calf, Sirion like a young wild ox. The voice of Adonai kindles flames of fire. The voice of Adonai convulses the wilderness. Adonai convulses the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of Adonai causes hinds to calve and strips forests bare. While in God's temple all say glory. Adonai sat enthroned at the flood. Adonai sits enthroned, sovereign forever. May Adonai grant strength to God's people. May Adonai bestow on God's people well-being. Those last words, Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Adonai oz le'amo yitain yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Adonai oz le'amo yitain yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. We welcome in the image of the Shabbat bride with Lecha Dodi, page 138 and 139. We'll sing verses 1 and 2 and 5 and 7. Like I said, 5 and 9, exactly the way I said it. 1 and 2 and 5 and 9, exactly like I said out loud the first time. And you all thought I said 7. You should all get your hearing checked, because I definitely said 5 and 9. There's no doubt about it. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, Pnei pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, Pnei pnei Shabbat nikabela la 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, Pnei pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, Pnei pnei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'diburecha, ishmi anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'letchila la 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, Pnei pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, Pnei pnei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavati la 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, Pnei pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, Pnei pnei Shabbat nikabela. Verse number 5. Oreri, ki va'orech kumi uri, 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 shir daveri, Kivod Adonai Alahi, Nigla la 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 la, Lecha Dodi, Nigrat Kala, Pnei Pnei, Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi, Nigrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat Nikabela. Just because I said I'm going to sing verse number 7 just because I like it. You can stand up right now for verse number 9 anyway, but we'll sing verse number 7 just because I feel that because I said it, we must do it. V'hayu limshisa shosayich v'rachaku kol mivalayich yasis alayich Elohayich kimsos chatan kala la 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 lecha dodi digrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela lecha dodi digrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela. Now verse number 9. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha uvtzola toch emuneam segula boi chala la 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 lecha dodi digrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela lecha dodi digrat kala pnei Shabbat Nikabela la 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 lecha dodi digrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela lecha dodi digrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela. I think I had to do verse number 7 because it talks about a groom and a bride, and I'm doing a wedding on Sunday, so it all fits together perfectly. But since we're all standing, please turn to your neighbors beside you, in front of you, around you. Wish everyone Shabbat Shalom. For those of you who are joining us on TempleShalom.com live and on YouTube, Shabbat Shalom to all of you as well. And for any of you watching in the state of Virginia, if you're watching right now, Shabbat Shalom. We'll turn as we find our seats again. We'll turn to page 140 as we'll come to the Psalm of Shabbat, Psalm 92. Let us sing a joyful song of Shabbat. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulizamer lashimcha elyon, ulizamer lashimcha elyon. Page 140. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulizamer lashimcha elyon, ulizamer lashimcha elyon. Lahagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatecha balelot, alei asor ve'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulizamer lashimcha elyon, ulizamer lashimcha elyon. Ki simachtani Adonai b'fo'olecha, v'ma'aseh yadecha aranein. Gadlu ma'asecha Adonai me'od, amku machshevotecha. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulizamer lashimcha elyon, ulizamer lashimcha elyon. Mizmor shir leyom hashabbat, tov lehodod la'Adonai, ulizamer leshimcha elyon, ulizamer leshimcha elyon, ulizamer leshimcha elyon, ulizamer leshimcha elyon. We'll continue as we'll be in our Siddur on page 144 as we make our way from our Kabbalat Shabbat into our evening service with Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadav yitkadash shmei Rabbah, Yamad yivrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala ba'agala, uvizman ka'ariv yimeru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'alam olam me'amaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'ishtabach, yitba'ar v'droma v'itnaseh, v'itadar, v'itale, v'talal, shemei d'kudusha, b'richu le'elam in kol berchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechemata, damiron be'alma, v'yimeru, amen. We rise for Baruch Hu, page 146, as we call ourselves with an invitation to prayer. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. We can be seated. We turn to page 148. As on page 148, sorry, I was distracted. I just got a message. Ever since, we'll just tell you, ever since 9/11, or not, ever since the shooting in Pittsburgh, the synagogue in Pittsburgh, most rabbis now, as a safety feature, we keep our cell phone right here on the bima in case we need to hit 911. It's an unfortunate safety feature, and a message popped up on my phone, and someone who's watching online said, "Is that Brent and Susan in the front row? Tell them Shabbat Shalom from me." So that's real. I really got a message that says that right here. Is that Brent and Susan in the front row? Tell them Shabbat Shalom from me. So Shabbat Shalom to you from the person who, I'm not going to embarrass the person, but like somebody watching at home said Shabbat Shalom. So there you go. You never know. I get to deliver beautiful messages sometimes. So sorry if I seem distracted about the prayer on page 148, but I'm delivering emails to people in the congregation. We are on the top of page 148 with a prayer of creation, and we'll sing a little bit. If you don't know the words, "Lai, lai, lai" suffices for this part of our service because it all talks about the sounds of creation. God said, "Let there be light." God created through sound, and we create through the sound of the music that we sing. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים, במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. לי, 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 Lai, 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 lai. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom u'mevi layla, uma'avdil ben yom u'ben layla, Adonai Tzivaot Shemo. Lai, 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 lai. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה, אדוני, המעריב הרבים. לי, 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 לי. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, lai, lai. Lai, 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 lai. On page 151, middle of the page, we give thanks for Torah with these words in English, followed with the blessing: wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, praised are you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. Page 152, 153. We'll join together in the words of Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod, Malchutcho Le'olam Va'ed. 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam me'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvish arecha leman tizkeruhu vasitem lekol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'yot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 156. We come to Geulah, giving thanks for our redemption from Mitzrayim, from the narrow places of ancient Egypt, and from the narrow places that over these next not quite 7 weeks, between now and Yom Kippur, we try to find the way out of our narrow places in our lives as we come to Yom Kippur and ask for forgiveness for those things that might be keeping us in those narrow places. We say all this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us, that you are our God and we are Israel, your people. Emet be'emunah, emet be'emunah, emet be'emunah, kol zot ve'kayam aleinu, emet be'emunah, kol zot ki hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ein zulato va'anachnu Yisrael Amo emet be'emunah, emet be'emunah, emet be'emunah, kol zot ve'kayam aleinu, emet be'emunah, kol zot. Moses and Miriam and the children of Israel all sang to you with great joy, singing these words on their deliverance from Egypt. Page 158, Mi chamocha. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot. O sefele, O sefele. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot. O sefele, O sefele. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha. Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze Eli anu ve'omru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Page 160. Our Jewish lullaby. We ask God to lie us down at night, protect us through the night so that we might rise up again tomorrow to life, that we be protected from enemy and illness and war, from famine and sorrow and from wrongdoing, and spread over us a shelter of your peace in our going and our coming in all times. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, the top, page 160. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. The three indented lines near the bottom. Ushmor Tzitenu Uvoinu L'chaim U'Shalom Me'ata ve'ad olam. Laila, 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 Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu v'Shalom v'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu v'Shalom v'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Haporei Sukat Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Praise for you, Adonai, our God, guardian of Israel, who shelters your people, the shelter of your peace over us, over Israel, and over Jerusalem. We remind ourselves of the importance of Shabbat. Page 162. The people of Israel will keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat through the ages. It's a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between God and the people of Israel that in 6 days God made the earth and the heavens, and on the seventh day God ceased from all of the work that there was to do and began the idea of seeking the refreshness of our soul. Vishameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam b'ni uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam Sheshet Yamim Asa Adonai Et HaShemayim Ve'et Ha'aretz Uviyom HaShvi'i Shabbat Shabbat Vayihi Na'afash Shabbat Shabbat Vayinafash Vishameru Shabbat Shabbat Vayinafash Vishameru Shabbat Shabbat Vayinafash. As we turn to page 164, we'll rise for the beginning of our Amidah. We'll sing the Zimun, these words of meditation to bring us into the Amidah. We'll sing the first few paragraphs together, and then we'll take time for our own silent prayers through page 180 or 181, whether you're praying in the Hebrew or the English. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chaste Avot Le'imahot, U'Mevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, L'Ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, 168, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaya Kol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Ba'al Givurot, Umido Melach, Melech Meimitu Mechaye, Umatmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atala Chayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol, Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yahallelu Chasela, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue silently through 180, 181 in the Hebrew or English, or take time now for your own silent prayers. When you're finished, please be seated. You'll find these words in the middle of page 180. V'ratzon Imrefi V'hegyon Lefanecha Adonai Tzuri V'goali Adonai Tzuri V'goali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart, may they all be acceptable unto you, Adonai, my rock and my Redeemer, Adonai, my rock and my Redeemer. If you will turn to page 371. This evening we think of those who are in need of healing. We ask God to bring refuah shlema, complete healing, to Brian Zabel, Gnendel bat Sima, Avraham ben Meir, Tova bat Rasha, Fran Hart, Aharon ben Avraham Vasara, Larry Ritterband, Sarah Tischler, Kayla Vreek and Lila Vreek, Stanley Sachs, Karen Thursby, Alan and Untilter Lupus, Kelly Fuentes, Paltiela bat Basha, Devor Esther bat Moshe, Ellen Weiss, Tommy Elledge, Batsheva bat Sprinchla, Sur Shaddai ben Sarah, Bela bat Surva Herschel, Sarah Mandel, Lynn Kaplan, Don Kraft, Terry Robertson, Boaz Abramoff, and Ruth Sugar Barish. Do you have any other names for healing? Any others on this side? Names for healing on this side of the room? Thank you. Any other names for healing on this side? For all those who've named, for all those of you at home, if you've said names at home, we include them as well. We ask God to bring refuah shlema, complete healing. Bimhera v'yameinu, may it come very quickly for them and for us. The middle of page 371. Yisheberach Avoteinu Mikor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yisheberach imoteinu mikor habracha ve'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. As I said a little earlier this evening, we're on this journey from Tisha B'Av, the holiday that recognizes the destruction of the temples, to Yom Kippur, when we come to the time of our purification of our souls. And we celebrated a holiday this week. Again, just to be sure, raise your hand if you're familiar with that holiday. 1, 2, I'll count me, 3, 3.5. I got another half of it. We got like 4 halves in the room. Yes, that's right. Tuesday evening was a holiday, and that holiday is known as my anniversary. That's right. That's right. Tuesday evening was my anniversary on the Hebrew calendar, but also on the Hebrew calendar known as Tu B'Av. It's actually a Jewish holiday. I was married on a Jewish holiday. I was actually married on a Tuesday evening. And this year, Tu B'Av was on a Tuesday evening. It's not on a Tuesday evening every year. Now, Tu B'Av means the 15th day of the month of Av, and that began when the sun went down on Tuesday night. Tu B'Av is the woodcutter's holiday. It's also the vintner's holiday. A few more people were a little more excited about the vintner's holiday than the woodcutter's holiday. But it's also known as the lover's holiday. It was sort of the ancient Valentine's Day. No, let me reverse that. Valentine's is the more modern Tu B'Av, because Tu B'Av is older. Tu B'Av, known as the lover's holiday, and here's why. In ancient times, to prepare everything for the year in the temple, the people would go out and cut the wood and get all the wood set up, because remember, we have the altar in the temple where we make animal sacrifices, which takes a lot of wood to keeping it burning every day. You can imagine the amount of wood that you need to keep this burning every single day so that we can make sacrifices in the temple. There's a lot of wood. When we show you pictures of the temple that people draw, no one ever shows you the woodshed on the backside with all of the wood there, but it was there. I mean, because they needed the wood. And this was the day that they finished chopping and preparing all the wood and getting it all stacked up. It's also the day that the vintners celebrated that they had set everything to make the wine that would be used inside the temple. And it was also, as the Talmud says, one of the 2 happiest days of the year. Tu B'Av, one of the 2 happiest days of the year, because on that day, by the way, what's the other one? Anybody know? The other happiest day of the year, Lover's Day, right? Tu B'Av, and the other one? Shabbat. That's the wrong answer. Okay, so, any other guesses? Is it Yom Kippur? That sounds like a ridiculous answer. That's the correct answer. Excellent. I love when my students learn stuff. It's so cool. So, Tu B'Av and Yom Kippur are the happiest days of the year. I thought Yom Kippur was a sad day. It's a fast day. No. Think about it. At the end of Yom Kippur, your soul is in its purest state that it could be. How could there be a happier day than that? And the Talmud says that on Tu B'Av, the young women, and Yom Kippur, the young women would go out to the grape fields, and they would dance in borrowed white dresses, so that no one would know based upon their dress whether they came from a rich family or a poor family. And the women would say to the young men who were looking for a bride, "Come and choose me, not because of my beauty but because of the riches of my family, but because of the Jewish learning that goes on in my household." And this is how they would arrange marriages on Tu B'Av and Yom Kippur. Today, Tu B'Av is celebrated in Israel. If you want to get married on Tu B'Av, you better book your rabbi at least 9 to 12 months in advance, because they're all booked up, because everybody wants to get married on Tu B'Av. Also, you can go to a beach on the Kinneret, which is up in the north of the country. There's a beach there called Tzemach. If you go to Tzemach, you can go there and everybody know Delilah? Love Songs with Delilah, that really stupid, cheesy show on the radio where she reads silly letters from people. "Dear Steve, I love you so much. It's been so horrible that we've been apart for all these weeks while you've been on assignment. But I want you to know that our love will never fade. So Delilah, for Steve, will you please play a Stevie Wonder song?" And then she plays the song. It's the dumbest show. If you've never heard it, all the best cheesy love songs are on it. If you like cheesy love songs, you should listen. It's on the weekend on channel, I don't know what. But all the cheesy love song bands in Israel, they all play at Tzemach Beach that night. So it's an entire night of cheesy love songs. It's the best thing ever, right? You know, it's all the Israeli versions of "I just called to say I love you," right? So, but But the beautiful thing about Tu B'Av coming these days right after Yom Kippur, it's really a metaphor for this period of time where we're leading up to Yom Kippur. Because Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of Av, is the lowest point on the Jewish calendar. The temple was destroyed. It's the ultimate low of destruction. And 6 days later, the 15th day of Av, is the most joyful day of the year. One Shabbat, 6 days in the middle, and another Shabbat. From one Shabbat to another Shabbat, the 9th of Av to the 15th of Av, 6 days. One Shabbat to another Shabbat, the entire world can change. We can go from the lowest moment we can ever find to the highest moment we can ever find. And Tisha B'Av, destruction of the temple, to Tu B'Av, the woodcutter's holiday, the vintner's holiday, and the lover's holiday, the highest point. It teaches us one Shabbat to the next, we can change our entire world, and we can change the entire world around us. What does it take? You have to chop a little wood. You got to pull some grapes and drink some wine, right? It takes a little bit of work. Tu B'Av, the dancing in the grapeyard, in the grape fields, doesn't happen just because it happens. It happens because the wood cutting is done. The wine preparation is done. All the work that needs to be done has been completed. And it tells us that between one Shabbat and another Shabbat, we have the opportunity to complete all of the work that it takes to go from our lowest point to our highest point. We talk about that it takes years to fix things. I remember when my brother got married, it was like 30 years ago. My Uncle Samuel would not come if Aunt Esther was there. Because 40 years before that, they got in a fight about a thing that nobody remembers, not even them. And they took more than 40 years to fix it. But they could have taken one Shabbat to the next Shabbat. Because Tisha B'Av, the lowest moment, is only 6 days away from Tu B'Av, the highest moment. And had they decided to chop a little wood, pull and smash a few grapes, just a little bit of work that it would have taken, they could have gone from that low to that high in just a week instead of decades. And that's our lesson for this period of time. As we make our way toward Yom Kippur, we find ourselves in low moments. Maybe they're caused by us, maybe they're caused by someone else. But if we do that little bit of work, and it's work, but it's just a little bit of work, we can find our pathway to have souls that are pure as we approach the holiday of Yom Kippur, the time of the ultimate purity of our souls. As we enter into these weeks between Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur, may we all be blessed to find our way across that pathway. Amen. We'll come to the final prayers of our service as we'll turn to page 586. At the bottom of the page, we'll rise for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gdula liotze breshit, shelo asanu k'gurgei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei hamalachim, hakadosh baruch hu, shehu noteh shamayim ve'yoser haaretz, u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim ima'al, u'shchinatu zo, v'govei meromim, u'eloheinu einod, emet malkeinu efesu latov, Kakatu v'torato, yadata hayom Yadata hayom bahashivota elevavecha. Ki Adonai hua Elohim. Bashamayim ima'al. Ve'al ha'aretz. Ve'al ha'aretz. Mitachat einod. 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 The middle of 590. Ki ha'malchut shelcha hi olam yatimloch b'chavod. Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch ve'olam ba'ed. V'ne'emar v'aya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz. Bayom hahu ye Adonai echad. Ushemo echad. Ushemo echad. We can all be seated. In our yard sites this week, we recall the memories of Irving Friend, Erna Black, Babette Freund Silverblatt, Sylvia Simon, Esther Bleiberg, George Pitchler, Martin Buxbaum, Marilyn Ailes, Dorothy Collins, Max Silverberg, Abe Weinberg, Mary Shiner, Ethel Barnes, Jeanette Greenberg, Lee Rubino, Ruth Weiss, Mark Berman, Jean Greenberg. Are there any other yard sites that anybody is observing? May their memories be a blessing. We ask mourners to rise, and those whose custom it is to stand for Kaddish, page 598. As in their memory, we sanctify God's name. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei al maya, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yit'aleh, v'yithalal shemei d'kudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, t'amiran ve'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We can all be seated. If you live in America and you get married on Tu B'Av, it's easier to find a rabbi because it's not as popular in America. But if you get married on Tu B'Av on a Tuesday, that's even better. Did you all know that Tuesday is the official Jewish wedding day? One person knew that. Two people knew that. That's not a joke. That's really a thing. If you read in the book of Genesis, chapter 1 of the book of Genesis, at the end of each day of creation, God says, and this is good. But on the third day of creation, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, on Tuesday, the third day of creation, God says this is good twice. It's the only day of any of the 7 days. And the rabbis in the Talmud said, why did God say that third day of creation is blessed twice? Because that's the day God wants you to get married on. So if you get married on Tuesday, that's what it is. And if you get married Tu B'Av on a Tuesday, which I did, that's the best way to do it. Craig, you look so confused. No, it's cheaper on Tuesday. Everybody wants it on the weekend. The prices you can get on a Tuesday, I'm telling you, it's great. The photographer, 90% off on a Tuesday. But we do have some announcements. Carolyn has some announcements of things coming. Yeah, skip the unimportant stuff and just do the important stuff.
I'm sorry. No, we got a lot. We do. And I want to thank you, Rabbi, for leading us this evening.
We're going to move this so we can hear you better.
Oh, because I'm short?
No, because you're far away.
Oh,
There we go.
Well,
That's better.
now I'm going to have to step back. I used to call the cows.
Okay, there we go.
500 makers. Well, okay. So thank you for leading us, and thanks to everyone who participated. Save the date right now, Saturday the 26th from 7 to whenever we leave. The doors are opened at 6:45, and this is See You Later Havdalah in honor of Elena Rathman's 20 years plus of service to the temple as teacher, board member, director of education, and executive director. The committee to honor Elena Rathman will accept any and all sponsorships for this honoring event. Please, soon, because the decision of how much we actually can spend is going to be made on Monday. So, and you also, when you register, because you must register for the event, you got to do that at templeshalom.com. We all know that. There's a link to sponsor if you'd like to do so, or look for the link in your weekly email. That happens every Wednesday. We also need you to have your registration in for the event no later than August 20th at 6 p.m. That's absolutely a Sunday, by the way. So if you're not registered, you can't come in because it's a catered event and they count people. Dates in August to save, starting tomorrow. Robert Footlick is going to be facilitating a new class, Learning to be a Gabbai. It's a free class with one prerequisite: you must be able to read Hebrew. This class will go on for 6 Saturdays from 1 to 2. Please register as soon as you can at templeshalom.com. These are all run together. August 18th, Friday's Erev Shabbat service will be in the Garden of the Gods.
2 weeks from tonight, Garden of the Gods. Bring your picnic lunch or dinner, or lunch and dinner. Stay all day. It'll be great.
Stay all day.
But bring your picnic dinner. Join us in that circle that's right below Kissing Camels. It's an amazing place to have a Shabbat service. Don't miss it.
And this is a change because it was previously somewhere else. I don't know where
It was on a different day, but now it got switched. That's what it was.
Okay.
Just come on the 8th. Come here next week. Go there on the 18th. It'll all be great.
Yeah. And then join us for back to school, not shul, back to school fun at Temple Shalom, Sunday, the 27th of August. Your weekend is gone, by the way. From 9:30 to 11:30, fun in a food truck. And register at templeshalom.com. Sign up now for Cemetery Fall Cleanup Day, Sunday, September 10th at 10 o'clock, 10 and 10, that's good. Bring water, gloves, and a can-do attitude. Again, templeshalom.com. Oh, and by the way, high holidays are seriously right around the corner. Etrog and Lulav ordering is open. Memorial book forms are in the foyer and also in the online link. Just look at your email.
Right, and you should have received a link maybe yesterday or today for the memorial book. So if you didn't, contact the office. If you did, you've got that form.
Yes, and then members, you should have received your membership renewal form in May. Please send it in if you haven't. July is here and past, which was the first month of our new year, fiscal year. So your staff, your temple staff are still very grateful for the uptick in the proactive registrations. We love it when you register. For security's sake, please don't open the door to anyone to let them in. Don't prop it open to go outside and come back. Just please don't do that. If you got any question, call the office. And then if you know anyone or a temple member who is ill, hospitalized, or suffering from a loss, please contact the temple office so we can be sure to provide encouragement and support. Thanks.
Thank you, Carolyn. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
We And Paulette, I'm going to, just so the people at home who are watching can hear, I'm going to repeat a little bit of what you said so they can hear it, since they hear it, that in September, the Pikes Peak Library District is hosting a traveling exhibit about the Holocaust. Only 50 libraries in the country have been chosen. The Greenberg Center and Temple Shalom are two of the sponsors of the event. We actually signed up. We had to write, Elena Rathman and I wrote letters and all kinds of things so that we could get it in our community here. And it was supposed to be 2 years ago. Why wasn't it? Oh, that COVID thing got in the way. But we're back on the schedule now. And so it's a wonderful traveling exhibit. So in September, come check it out. It's really beautiful. Now you at home know what Paulette said just a second ago, so you can all hear it. We're going to turn in our Siddur to page 639. 639. And because Tu B'Av was this week, there's this incredibly joyful piece of music that comes from the Chad Dodi, and it also ties into the idea of a wedding and Shabbat bride. So it's in Yiddish, but you'll get it. So it's a joyful song, and it's very participatory, so you need to participate. Are you ready to participate? 2 people are ready to participate. That's great. Okay, ready? Here we go. So I'm going to say, As ich will singen. I'm going to go in this key here. Yeah, I like that key better. As ich will singen, Lecha Dodi. And that means if I say Lecha Dodi, sollst du singen. That means you're going to sing Chiri, Biri, Bim. Everybody got it? Chiri, Biri, Bim. As ich will singen, that means if I'm singing Likrat Kala, and you're going to sing Chiri Biri Bam. Ready? Sollst du singen Chiri Biri Bam. You got the whole thing? Okay, so here we go. Ready? I'm going to do this key there. Perfect. As ich will singen. It's a very exciting song. Ready? Lecha Dodi. I need an oi. No, that's not an oi, that's an oi. As ich will singen, that means if I'm singing Lecha Dodi. Sollst du singen Chiri Biri Bim. Chiri Biri Bim. As ich will singen, that means if I'm singing Likrat Kala. I need like a drawn out one. Oi! Sollst du singen Chiri Biri Bam. Chiri Biri Bam. So if I sing Lecha Dodi, you sing Chiri Biri Bim. And if I sing Likrat Kala, you sing Chiri Biri Bam. If I sing Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Chiri Biri 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 Bam. Try it. Chiri Biri Biri Bam. You got it. So from the beginning, ready? Really loud so the people at home can hear you, because they're singing at home. You people at home, if you don't sing, I'm coming to your house with my guitar. I'm going to make you sing. Ready? Here we go. As ich will singen, Lecha Dodi. Sollst du singen, Chiri Biri Bim. Chiri Biri Bim. As ich will singen, Likrat Kala. Sollst du singen, Chiri Biri Bam. Ready? Chiri Biri Bam. Lecha Dodi, Chiri Biri Bim. Likrat Kala, Chiri Biri Bam. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Chiri Biri 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 Bam. So whatever I say, you say the opposite. Are you ready? Chiri Bim. Chiri Bam. We all sing Chiri Bim Bam Bim Bam Bim Bam. Chiri Bim. Chiri Bam. Everyone. Chiri Bim Bam Bim Bam Bim. Here's the last part we sing. Oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. 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 You got the whole thing? The whole song. Ready? Here we go. From the beginning. As ich will singen. You got to get the cry in your voice because it's a very Yiddish song. As ich will singen. Lecha Dodi. Sollst du singen. Chiri Biri Bim. As ich will singen. Likrat Kala. Sollst du singen, Chiri Biri Bam. Lecha Dodi, Chiri Biri Bim. cherry bim, cherry bum, cherry bim bum bim bum bim bum, cherry bim, cherry bum, cherry bim bum bim bum bim bum, oi cherry bim bim bum, oi cherry bim bim bum, oi cherry bim bim bum bum, oi cherry bim bim, cherry bim, cherry bum, cherry bim bum bim bum bim bum, cherry bim, cherry bum, cherry bim bum bim bum bim bum, oi cherry bim bim bum 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 bum. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We'll go make a little kiddush and motzi in the back of the room. If I say Lecha Dodi, welcome the bride, oi, you say Chiri Beri Bim. I'm so happy, right? Chiri Beri Bim, which means in English Chiri Beri Bim, which in Hebrew means Chiri Beri Bim, which in Yiddish means Chiri Beri Bim, which in Swahili means, there.